Hi, Stashma. How are you doing?
Hi, Samuel. All is well. How about yourself?
I am okay. Just like the week was a little busy, uh, but I'm fine.
Great, great. Yeah, I've been a bit busy as well. As you know, I've been attending a conference here in Washington, D.C. But all is well. I am so excited to, have this conversation with you today.
Thank you. I'm excited too. So we are finally here to do our very first episode of the Green Life podcast. Are you ready for this?
Yes, Samuel, I'm so excited, nervous, and just happy to be here. Let's begin.
Let's do it. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Green Life podcast, where we make complex environmental issues simple and actionable.
And where we will be diving into real world stories and highlighting stories from people just like you to discuss a sustainable future.
Today, Stashma and I have invited Isaac Ndyamuhaki, a dedicated conservationist and an entrepreneur deeply invested in circular economy and renewable energy. His commitment to sustainability is evident through his ventures in green entrepreneurship and youth empowerment.
Isaac's impactful work at the grassroots level has earned him prestigious accolades, such as the African Climate Innovation Change Challenge 2023 and the Uganda Best Climate Action Enterprise of the year 2021. Isaac is a fellow of the Young African Leaders Initiative and the Future Makers Program.
Currently, he is the program manager for circular economy at the Green Africa Youth Organization Uganda and the founder of Asili Kwanza Uganda, a social enterprise focused on converting biomass waste into energy.
Isaac is driven by a vision of a transformed world, tirelessly working to forge paths for environmental sustainability on both local and global stages.
If you are wondering what we will be talking to Isaac about, don't worry. We'll not keep you waiting. We'll talk to him about the UN climate change conference uh, that has just ended in Baku, Japan. Isaac has been following the COP29 proceedings. Stashima, do you want to give a quick summary of the COP conferences?
Sure, Samuel, in recognition of these risks, global governments established the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change, UNFCCC, in 1992. In 1995, UNFCCC held the first Conference of Parties, in other words, COP, in Bonn, Germany, to discuss actions to mitigate climate change. Since then, the COP has become an annual conference of governments in different parts of actions negotiated at the government level with civil society organizations and media as observers to this process. Samuel, why don't you go ahead and share some monumental moments from COP over the years?
Sure. Among the remarkable conferences of party is COP3, COP21, and COP28 that saw the signing. COP3 saw the signing of the Kyoto Protocol, COP21, the Paris Agreement, COP28, loss and damage. But over the years, COP has actually attracted scrutiny, including COP29 that has been dubbed the money COP.
Yes, Samuel. There has been a lot of scrutiny over the recent years. So, from the onset, one may ask whether COP meetings are still relevant or if they're just like, an annual calendar travel abroad event for government officials and other dignitaries, as traces of actions to commitments seem to be falling short of these agreements, including the pledge to $100 billion for climate finance.
To add, shockingly, the COP meetings are now becoming more controversial, especially as we see oil-rich countries hosting such meetings at a very sensitive time. But not to be too negative, all hope is not lost for the current and the future generation. At COP27 in Egypt, we saw the first child and youth pavilion launched as a way to include youth and children in the COP processes.
Yeah, so there have been a lot of movement with youth, the COP process. In this episode with Isaac, we will seek to learn about Green Africa Youth Organization, an organization that Isaac is affiliated with. And we are going to learn how this organization is affiliated and involved in the COP processes, and also get some insights from Isaac on how youth climate actions are being facilitated at local level beyond COP processes.
Okay, so let's welcome Isaac. Hello, Isaac.
Hello.
Welcome to the Green Life Podcast.
Wow, thank you so much.
How are you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I am fine. And Stashma, I am here with Stashma, and I would like to give Stashma an opportunity to say hello and also put to you what we have for you today.
Great.
Hi,
Great.
hi, Isaac. So nice to finally meet you. Thank you so much for being here today. I hope that everything is going well on your end.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm also happy to meet you here, and everything on my end is okay. Maybe you.
Yes, all is well on my end. So Samuel will be kicking us off with his first question for you, and then after that, I will be asking you a question. Does that sound good?
Great. Sounds okay.
Okay. So, Isaac, what inspired you to become a climate advocate?
I thank you so much for that question. I, living and growing up from a country where climate change disasters and problems were daily routine, I had to offer myself to be one of those champions that have to drive towards advocating for climate change, but also providing practical solutions that address the problem.
All right. Thank you so much for your answer, Isaac. So we're really interested to hear about the organization that you're affiliated with, Green Africa Youth Organization, or GAIO. So what is GAIO, Isaac? Can you tell us more about this organization and how it advocates for youth involvement in climate conversations?
Yeah, thank you so much. Gaio is Green Africa Youth Organization. It is a gender balanced and youth led organization that is focused on providing practical solutions as well as making sure that the young people are provided with the right resources and platforms to advocate for climate change. This organization was founded in 2014 in Ghana, and right now the works of the organization are being spread across the entire Africa, working across thematic areas of circular economy, which I lead in Uganda, disaster risk reduction, and climate change advocacy itself through the Youth Climate Council.
Isaac, we heard that a guy won the short prize. Tell us about that prize and what was the pitch, but also what plans does your organization have to utilizing this money that was really won in this prize.
Yeah, thank you so much. And first of all, I would like to use this opportunity to congratulate the youth, the African youth, because this win is not only about Gaio, but the entire youth of Africa. Because when you realize that the Ashshot prize has been there for several times, but Gaio is the first youth-led organization to win this prize. So the pitch was about clean our air, and looking at the problem that our cities face. We are faced with a lot of pollution, but this pollution is actually emanating from waste. So we were basically presenting our zero waste model, where we are looking at integrating circular economy principles to make sure that we reduce waste to the bare minimum and create cities where solid waste management isn't a problem, but also providing quite a lot of alternatives towards solving the waste problem and diverting a lot of it from the landfills. So going forward, the main plan is supporting interventions geared towards reducing waste within the cities across different countries where we are operating, but also scaling up works that are already going on to see that we have quite more significant outcomes when it comes to combating air pollution.
Wow. Congratulations to that.
Yes, congratulations. Like, that's really excellent work that you're doing, and I'm not surprised that you received this big prize. So yeah, Isaac, let us get to the role of the youth in the COP process and also in climate action. Samuel, you want to go ahead?
True. Isaac, as we know, youth are highly marginalized in the climate conversations and discussions, despite being one of the most vulnerable in the climate crisis. We know that actually Climate Watch Foundation has found that our foundations giving to young people and climate justice initiatives by youth is extremely limited, accounting to just about 0.76% of the climate mitigation funding from the world's largest climate foundations across the 3 financial years, that is 2019, 2020, and 2021. Given these numbers, what has Gaio's experience in supporting youth involvement been on a global level?
Yeah, thank you so much. So it is true that youth-led interventions and even youth participation in the global conversations about climate change is still underfunded, and also there is still limited participation. So Gaio's experience has been quite stepwise, working both on global scale but also on the local scale. So locally, Gaio has been supporting youth-led interventions through providing support to those youth to do what they are doing across different areas of their operations, of their enterprises, to be very specific. So our youth have been supported to do works in waste management, waste recycling. Youth have been supported to do work in reforestation and many other interventions. And on the global scale, Gaio has provided platforms for young people to engage. For example, the youth through the Youth Climate Council, which Gaio is championing in Africa to make sure that the youth in Africa can have an opportunity to move to a global level and have a seat on tables where decisions are made, and actually have their voice conveyed on those exact tables. So the experience has been quite great, but we still continue to push for more because, like I earlier mentioned, there is still more to be done. There is more young people to be brought on board when it comes to solving the problem of climate change.
Isaac, have you attended the COP conferences before?
Yes, please. I have. I have.
Okay, so what has been your experience as a youth in the COP conferences that you have attended in the past? And based on the conversations of COP29, do you think the young people got their expectations from COP29?
Yeah, thank you so much. With my experience in COP 27 in Egypt and COP28 in Dubai, my experience was really great because it gave me a picture of how things are done and what priorities that should and how priorities are set to see that everyone is inclusive. So looking at the outcomes of COP28, it was it was great that parties agreed on the loss and damage funding and several other things, including just transition in energy, which are already taking shape in at country levels, but still there is more to be done, and there's more now, more of like financing, which the current COP that is ending tomorrow has been focusing on. So we hope we are going to see more significant outcomes coming up in the subsequent COPs, but also more work being done on ground to realize all the climate action targets.
Excellent. Do you think youth voices have been represented in the discussions and decisions at the COP29 in Azerbaijan? Do you feel like, youth voices were truly being heard? And I also wanted to ask you, Isaac, since you've been in attendance before, do these voices go beyond the streets at COP to the negotiation and meeting rooms and translate into visible actions?
Um, well, I feel there is more to be done when it comes to youth inclusion in COP processes and negotiations. Because if I can give a case of Uganda, we look at young negotiators who are supposed to move. Some of them couldn't, and also when you look at the numbers that were supposed to be representing, still the numbers were a little bit minimal, an indication that there's more work to be done when it comes to youth inclusion in terms of climate change narratives and interventions when it comes to the global scale. So basically that's what I can say about that. But definitely we see more significance when it comes to youth inclusion. For example, when you look at different countries having priorities that they are working on, giving an example of Uganda, I still give some little bit of credit because during the before COP29 departures, we were trained to be negotiators, and a full team of young youth climate negotiators is in place, which is something that we can't undermine as time goes by in terms of capacity building. But also young people who are doing work at a practical level, they are also being catered for when it comes to national adaptation plans. We have documents where young people's work can also be really integrated and then moved forward towards real actions. So it is kind of two-way. It is just work in progress, which we have to adhere to.
Okay. Isaac, this is a question that is unpopular. Nasuke Claire, who is a climate advocate, has actually said this, that children have no business being at the COP conferences, but in school playing and studying, but also playing with their peers. What's your comment on that?
Well, my comment would be two-way traffic, because I have seen children at COP, and that's why even there is a full-fledged children and youth wing recognized at COP. So maybe that statement is entitled to her. That's what she thinks. But in my own opinion, when it comes to global problems like climate change, no one should be left behind. And that has to still build into the narrative of achieving SDGs, where we are all focusing at leaving no one behind when it comes to these conversations. Because also we must know that a forest does not depend on its old trees, but it depends actually on its saplings, which are young trees.
Thank you. We will keep interrogating that opinion. But let's move to issues of finance. How do you comment on COP29 decision of advancing the finance target to almost $1 trillion commitments for this year? And for example, unlike other COP meetings, this was a money COP, and the ambition was climate financing. However, there are issues around the calculations and accountabilities for this target that has been set. What is your view on the COP decisions for the COP29 particularly?
Yeah, thank you so much. I've been really trying to follow through keenly, and we continue to see such pledges coming through, but then we don't see real action. And then if you also dig deeper, you realize that they are actually pushing some climate financing targets even way beyond 2030, looking at now 2035. So there is still more need for the people or for the parties that are pledging financing to actually actualize that financing even way before 2035, which they are already talking about. So we have seen every other COP pledges are made, pledges are continuously made, but then we don't see a real action in fulfilling those pledges.
Isaac, thank you so much. Now we'd like to ask you something that has been of concern to a lot of people. As you know, it is clear that climate change is a result of global warming attributed to anthropogenic emission, with 75% contribution coming from production and use of fossil fuel, including coal, oil, and gas products. What is your take on hosting COPs in oil-rich countries and cities in this time where there is a great call for just transition of energy from fossil fuels to renewable energy sources in a way that prioritizes equity and fairness?
Yeah, hosting COP in an oil producing country, I wouldn't have I wouldn't have a problem with that. But then decisions that are made during those conversations are the ones that matter, and they are the ones that carry us forward, even when we are looking at a just transition. So even if a country is doing oil exploration, it shouldn't be sidelined by the virtue of that economic activity, because even as we transition into more clean energy, it is better we even have those countries more preached to stop what they are doing and actually adopt a way cleaner or green economy. So it's like it also builds into the narratives for those who are Christians. Uh, Jesus said, he came to look for those who are sinners, not the ones that are converted. So we should actually be focusing more on converting those who are continuously doing the pollution, to actually convert and do better. So also commenting on the just transition, it is a very, very important thing, because not all countries are actually ready. My country, Uganda, is just starting to uh, to uh, drill its oil, but it needs time to adopt. Likewise, all other African countries, or even other countries, maybe in other continents and global south, you realize they are really not yet ready to fully transition into clean energy. But there is need for time for them to build enough capacity, for them to have the right structures, and then they are able to hit right into it, avoid any form of crisis in terms of supply chains for essential products that can really support people's livelihoods in those countries.
Speaking of just transition, we would love to hear how the Green Africa Youth Organization is supporting the just transition as an organization you're working for.
Yeah, thank you so much for that. So Green Africa's organization is supporting the just transition across different fronts, uh, to see that our work continues to be immersed in what we are advocating for. Giving an example, Green Africa Youth Organization is supporting youth-led enterprises that provide alternative energy resources. Giving an example of young people using waste, turning waste into sustainable energy. Looking at supporting young people who are doing work around uh, alternative resources for plastics, but also participating at the global level, where we are looking at implementing clean energy projects. If I can give reference to the Ghana team, we are doing work in supporting solar energy and other things that have a lot to do with the that have a lot to do with energy transition. But we're also in other conversations to do with transition from even plastics. If you've heard about uh, INCs, uh, we are also immersed in those conversations and bringing information down here at the grassroots.
And at an individual level, how are you supporting the just transition, Isaac?
Well, that's a very interesting question. So at an individual level, right now, just like you mentioned earlier, I'm the founder of Asili Kwanza Uganda, which is a social enterprise that provides safe, affordable, and sustainable energy solutions. And my passion and vision is more based in how can we provide sustainable products. How can we usher people right into something that is better? So right now, we are converting biomass waste into briquettes, which is a very sustainable and alternative source of cooking. This alternative is way better compared to charcoal and firewood that are highly polluting, and they are also a key driver of deforestation in Uganda. So as we are driving people from cutting trees and using charcoal and firewood to use a more sustainable cooking fuel, which is briquettes, but also ushering them as they trade up to start using products like electric pressure cookers and other more sustainable products. So you cannot tell someone to stop using firewood and they immediately switch electricity, it will be hard for them. So you have to build that kind of transition, and that's what I'm doing. And away from that, my enterprise is also providing solar dryers, which are low emissions, which is a low emission solution from using other polluting or unsustainable solutions that are even way more disastrous. So that's what I'm doing at the moment at an individual level, solving those problems, but also it cascades across bigger populations, and that's how we can go right into it. If each and everyone did something just like myself, we would have much more significant outputs.
Well done.
Yes, well done. I agree. Like transition takes time and people should not be rushed. And also, like, there needs to be resources so that people can have like a just transition. And it seems like you and your initiative is doing exactly that. So thank you so much, Isaac. So we now have reached our final question. What should youth look out at the next COP, COP30 in Brazil, which will be a gateway to the Amazon rainforest?
Well, thank you so much. Thank you so much for that question. So, right in the coming COP, what I would really what I would really be looking out for is actually more of action. Like those who are pledging, to what extent have they fulfilled their pledges, and then following through the national adaptation plans. Now, for example, in Uganda, looking at how far is the government has the government pushed towards fulfilling their plans in as far as climate action is concerned. Because me, I'm more focused on on what has been planned and what has been achieved. So basically my main focus would be uh what was pledged, and those who received the funding, what did they do? And then uh, uh, I look at it in that angle way better, as we also push for further conversations going forward.
Thank you so much, Isaac. Do you have any final comments for us and our audience?
Yeah, the final comment would be the final comment would be uh we have we have to look at individually what you are doing at solve the problem, um and then you compare that at a global level what is being done, because when you get down at the grassroots, people may not understand the whole narrative, but they can understand things that relate more to them. So if you, for example, tell someone, stop using firewood, uh, what you should be having an immediate alternative or solution to what they should use, to avoid that, and also look at if are they able to afford it. Then we would be able to drive the everything better. And then to green life, I implore you the good work that you're doing, and please continue ushering in more young people, raising those voices to make sure that they reach very far. Because right now I'm here in Uganda, but I know if this podcast is posted on a platform, it can reach thousands and millions of people who can get the message, and then they can easily cascade it in their own settings. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Isaac. We really appreciate your time and thank you so much for your very encouraging words. We are very proud of you. Keep up the great work, and we're very happy to support you from the sidelines. Thank you.
Thank you too.
Thank you, Isaac.
Right. You're welcome. Thank you.
Wow. Station. This has been a very great discussion with Isaac. And what do you think?
I agree. I'm always so inspired and impressed by our youth. And I mean, I'm also considered a youth, I'm sure, but then there are people who are younger than me who are doing great work like Isaac. And this was a very refreshing conversation. I really liked how he said that, like we've reached a point where we can't be like pointing fingers and everybody needs to be involved in this fight for climate action. Yeah, what about you? What did you think?
Yeah, it was a very great conversation. I think the part that was more intriguing is actually the comment on children's involvement. It was a tricky one, I noticed for him, but I was able to close it up that if we are going to do actions against the climate crisis, everyone must be included. And it gave an analogy that actually all the trees cannot sustain the forest, but also you need the seedlings and the young trees to be able to ensure that the forest can stay longer. That was very thoughtful of him.
I agree. I definitely agree. Samuel, thank you so much for introducing me to Isaac and Gaio. I have learned a lot today and I'm excited to learn more.
Of course, Stashima, it's great to have you part of this podcast.
Thank you. Make sure to follow us on Instagram, X, and LinkedIn. Links will be in the bio. See you next time.
See you. Bye-bye, everyone. And see you on the next Green Life podcast. Thank you.